Hey everyone, I'm Adam Haritan from Learn Your Land, and in this video we're going to be discussing one of my favorite mushrooms. And many of you looking at this mushroom right now are saying, hey, I know this one, this is sheep's head or hen of the woods. That makes for some good eating. And you're absolutely right, this is often referred to as sheep's head or hen of the woods, and it is a choice edible mushroom. What I'd like to do in this video is share with you the story of how I was introduced to this mushroom, why it's a special mushroom in my life, and why it deserves a lot more attention than it's usually given. So several years ago, when I was first dialing in my health strategy and learning how to take care of my body, I came across what were known as the medicinal mushrooms. And one of those medicinal mushrooms was the Maitake mushroom, or Grifola frondosa. And whenever I started doing some research on it, I was absolutely blown away by how powerful of a mushroom this was. And this was before I knew that it actually grew where I live here in Western Pennsylvania. So I looked online to order some, and I found a bulk supplier, ordered about 1 to 2 pounds of it dried. Within a week it came in the mail, opened up the box, huge bag full of dried specimens, and I immediately set to work making teas, decoctions, making extractions, and making soups. And not too long after, I joined the local Western Pennsylvania Mushroom Club, and I became friends with some of the members. And they told me that they were going out looking for Grifola frondosa, the Maitake mushroom. And again, I was blown away. I could not believe that it actually grew around here. I thought it just grew maybe in Asia, where it had been used traditionally for centuries. And when I found out that they were looking for it, I immediately went out. I started looking for it. It didn't take me too long to find it. And ever since then, for several years, I set out in September, in October, looking for this mushroom, usually at the bases of oak trees. And I make it a part of my dietary strategy and a part of my medicinal strategy this time of year. The Maitake mushroom, or hen of the woods, or sheep's head, is one of the easiest mushrooms to identify. It's not always the easiest to find because it camouflages itself well in deciduous woodlands, but there aren't too many toxic lookalikes. So what you're going to look for this time of year, late August, September, October, maybe even early November, is a mushroom usually at the bases of oak trees. However, you can also find it at the bases of cherry trees, maple trees, and probably some other trees as well. Generally speaking, at least here in Western Pennsylvania, you're going to see a lot of it at the bases of oak trees. And it's got brown, grayish, overlapping caps, which are all attached at a single base. And this thing just basically pops up right out of the ground. And keep looking for it. You might not find it on the first oak tree that you find, or the second or the third, maybe the 100th oak tree. But maybe the 50th or 60th or 70th. It might not take you 100 trees to find it. And if you do find one, don't just look for that one and then take off. Look around the tree. You might find a second. You might find a third. You might find a fourth. Heck, you might even find a fifth around there. And as I said, it is an easy mushroom to identify, and there aren't too many toxic lookalikes at all, if even any toxic lookalikes. There might be one lookalike, which is the black staining Polypore, or Myripelis substinii. However, that one is generally found earlier in the year, in the summer months, June, July, maybe early August. And its key identifying characteristic of the black staining Polypore is, well, no surprise, it stains black. So if you handle it enough, maybe 10, 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes tops, it'll start to bruise black. But the Maitake mushroom won't really do it. It might have some shades of black in it, but it's generally gray or brown, and it's not going to bruise black. So this is a very easy mushroom to identify. You just got to keep looking for it. And again, this is the perfect time of year to look for it. October, early November, sometime in the fall in the northeastern United States. Maitake is a choice medicinal mushroom. And I like to really focus on the medicinal benefits first, because a lot of people know it as a choice edible mushroom. However, when you really see just how medicinal and beneficial this mushroom can be, I think you'll be blown away. Like most medicinal mushrooms, this is a polypore, belongs in the Polypore family, which means if you turn it upside down, you look underneath those caps, you will see thousands of tiny microscopic pores. And this is how it reproduces. It drops its spores through these pores. And if you find one that has gills on the underside that looks like the Maitake mushroom, well, you've got the wrong mushroom. It's a completely different species. And I'm actually curious to know which one you found, because I don't know of too many that look like Maitake that have gills. So send me a picture and let me know what you found. Like most medicinal mushrooms, this one is an immune system modulator, meaning it can help to regulate the immune system. There's a lot of good research behind this as well. And it does this through its polysaccharides or beta-glucans. These are compounds found within the Maitake mushroom that are generally water soluble, so you can pull them out through hot water extractions or teas. and they can help to regulate the immune system, either stimulating it if your body needs your immune system to be stimulated, or it could bring it back down if your immune system's working on overdrive. So it can help to regulate the immune system. The Maitake mushroom contains another polysaccharide known as D-fraction. It's a pretty popular compound. A lot of researchers are studying D-fraction for its anti-cancerous properties, especially against human breast cancer cells, against advanced renal cell carcinoma cells, and against bladder cancer cells. Another interesting fact about this mushroom is that it may be anti-diabetic by helping to inhibit a certain enzyme in our bodies known as alpha-glucosidase. Alpha-glucosidase is an enzyme located on the brushboard of our small intestines that can break down starch and disaccharides from our meals into simple sugars like glucose. And so by inhibiting this enzyme, we can reduce the absorption, or at least slow it down, the absorption of glucose into our bodies. And what's really interesting is that many of the oral anti-diabetic medications on the market, the prescription drugs, act as alpha-glucosidase inhibitors. So perhaps the Maitake mushroom, with its alpha-glucosidase inhibition properties, can be a viable alternative to some of these prescription medications, which of course present a host of side effects. Maitake mushroom presents few, if any, side effects, and I feel like I keep saying this over and over again with the species that I discuss in these videos. Another neat thing about the Maitake mushroom, it's a good source of vitamin D2, and research shows that about 100 grams of fresh material contains about 2,000 international units of vitamin D2. So there's a certain fungal cell membrane molecule known as ergosterol, which when hit by UV radiation can be converted into ergocalciferol, otherwise known as vitamin D2. And so if you take this mushroom and dry it slightly out in the sun, and if you slice it up to expose more cell membranes, you can increase that conversion and maybe increase the amount of vitamin D2 in the Maitake mushroom. So as you can see, this definitely is a choice medicinal mushroom. There are numerous studies on it and several more beneficial effects. I'm just scratching the surface here, so I encourage you to look into more research on it. You know what the best part about the Maitake mushroom is? The best part is that something so powerful, so accessible, so abundant grows quite literally right at the edges of our fingertips. Some of us may even have this growing right in our own yards. And if that's you and this mushroom grows in your ecosystem and you've been watching this video up until this point and you didn't just skip ahead to this conclusion, so you sat through those medicinal benefits and you heard me talking about how powerful of a mushroom this could be, then you absolutely owe it to yourself to get out there and start looking for this mushroom. Bring it into your home, make friends with it, build your body out of it. I don't think we realize sometimes how fortunate we really are to have access to some of the world's most powerful medicines so close to home. And if you're watching this video and you're saying, listen man, this is great, but I don't live in an area where the Maitake mushroom grows. Well, that's okay, because I guarantee that there are other medicinal mushrooms that grow right in your ecosystem, and medicinal plants as well that you can bring into your house. You can make medicines out of them, and then you can begin to express your health to its fullest potential by feeding your body the foods and medicines that it desires. You got to hear me on this one. The universe is so abundant. Everything that we need is quite literally all around us. You might not find it at the pharmacy. You might not find it from your doctor, but more often than not, the answers that you seek can be found in nature. Thanks so much for watching this video. Really appreciate it. As always, I encourage you to check out learnyourland.com, which is a database and community of naturalists and nature-based events happening in your area. And I'd also love it if you could hit the join button at the top of the page. Join the community to receive updates when cool nature-based events are happening in your area. And I'd also love it if you'd consider subscribing to my YouTube channel to stay up to date on all the great videos about our flora, fauna, and fungi of our ecosystems that I plan on releasing in the near future. Thanks again for watching. Really appreciate it. I'll see you next time.